Hello, everyone. We're in chapter 5 of finance. We're dealing with the time value of money, which the time value of money, don't let it confuse you, the concept. Some people get a little lost with it. It's really more straightforward than you think. You just clear your mind, look at it. We're going to present it. I find this to be one of the most useful chapters in finance, one of the most useful sections, because even if you don't go into finance, if you don't go into accounting, the time value of money is a really beneficial concept for anyone to have. Okay, even just people, really, if you're looking to save money, you want to figure out like how much money you'll have in the future based on your savings, stuff like that. So let's dive into it. What we're going to be dealing with is money and interest. Okay, interest rates. So let's say, all right, and I have the PowerPoint. PowerPoint will be up for all of you. Okay. The first thing we're going to look at is the future value. The future value is, all right, we have one lump sum of money today. Say we have $100 today. Based on a certain interest rate, what is going to be the future value of that money? Okay. So let's look at it. Say we have $1,000 that we want to put in a savings account. Okay. And we have a savings account that will pay us, let's say 5% interest a year. Okay. So after 1 year, how much will we have? So we have $1,000. We put it into the savings account that's getting 5% interest. There's a few ways you go about doing this, depending how comfortable you feel with finding interest. Okay, the one way is you take the dollar amount, $1,000, you multiply it by the interest. Okay, so in this case, 5%. And that's going to give us just the interest that's earned. So I'll go ahead and calculate it over here, 1,000 times 5%. So $50 is the interest we earned. Okay. And then if we need the total, we have to take the original $1,000 plus the interest. Okay. So the original investment plus the interest equals the total. So the original investment of $1,000 plus the 50 we just calculated equals $1,050. So after 1 year, that's how much we will have. Okay, and that's just called simple interest. Okay, it's straightforward. All right, the other way we could do it is if we take, and let me show 1,000, so the initial investment multiplied by one, the number one, plus the interest. Okay, so if I put that down here and I show it again, in this case, it's $1,000 multiplied by 1 plus 5%. And let me break it down. I'm going to break down step by step because if you haven't seen this before, I don't want it to be confusing. So $1,000 times 1.05. So when you 1 plus 5%, 5% is 0.05. So 1.05. Okay. So now if you do this actual formula, 1,000 times 1.05, you get $1,050. Okay, so both are the ways to do it. Once you get comfortable with this way, this is the quicker way because all you're doing is putting a 1 in front of the interest and multiplying. And that's how you get simple interest, okay? Now, simple interest, straightforward. We could do this any dollar amount, any percentage, right? I'll do one more real quick. Say we're going to invest, we're going to invest $5,000. Interest is 10%, okay? And we're looking just right now for a year, okay? So the total, and we'll call it the total return, the total return that we're going to get, okay? And that's just the total amount. And I'm going to do the quick way. So equals 5,000 times, we're dealing with 10%. So that's 1.10, okay? 10% is 0.10. So 1.10. We're going to get $5,500 from that in 1 year. You could see the concept of how the rich get rich. You know, they get rich quicker. It's, you could have a pretty crappy interest rate. 10% is a good interest rate. But still, think about this. We'll do one more. Say we're going to invest $10 million. So you're a millionaire, $10 million. You get, so right now I have a savings account that has 2% interest, and I'm like jumping for joy that is 2%, even though it's pathetic. So our total return is the $10 million times 1.02, $200,000. So, you have $100 million, you could take 10 million, put it into the worst savings account known to man, which is what I have, and you get $200,000 in a year. That's pretty good. Okay. And again, that's crappy savings account. Once you have a lot of money, you get more like savings options. You're dealing with higher savings accounts, things just get better. Okay. Look, we could play with this. We could say, what if it was 5%? Okay. You get $500,000. If it was 10%, excuse me, if it was 10%, okay, we'll change the formula. Oops. You get a whole $1 million. Okay. So you started with 10 million, now it's 11 million. You got a whole million on there. Okay. So that's simple interest, just dealing with 1 year. Okay. When you go beyond the year, I should say, is when we deal with compound interest. Compound interest is interest earned on your initial investment plus all of the interests earned to date. That's a weird one to put into words, so let's look at it. It's the best way to do it. Let's go back to this initial $1,000 at 5%. Okay, so we already saw in 1 year, okay, we made $1,050. Okay, so I'll rewrite it down. Initial investment, okay, we did $1,000. The interest, we're earning 5% interest, okay? And look, what if I make a cute little table? So in year 1, or after 1 year, I'll put that after 1 year. The total return, so that's going to be our investment plus the interest. So after 1 year, we already calculated was $1,050. Okay. But now what if we want to leave it in there for more than 1 year? Okay. Well, how interest works is it's not like they're just giving us $50 every year. We're getting interest on this dollar amount, whatever the balance is in our account. So when we initially invested the $1,000, that was our balance, and we got 5% interest. After 1 year, our new balance is $1,050. So after 2 years, what's going to be our new total that we have in there? Okay, and it's going to be the same process. We take the balance, okay, and we take the balance to 1,050 multiplied by 1 plus the percentage, so 1.05. So now our new balance is $1,102.50. Okay, so look, it was more than $50 we got in interest because we earned interest on the new balance, not just the original $1,000. And that's what compound interest means. We're earning interest on the interest we've already earned. And just to show you the formula, so it stands out, okay, again, we took the 1,050 multiplied by 1.05. Okay, so now if we say, what about after 3 years? All right, it's going to be the same thing. Now we're getting interest on this amount, our new balance, $1,102.50 times the same 1.05. So now we've earned $1,157.63. Okay, and again, let me just show how it looks. 1102.50 times 1.05. Okay. So if we wanted to say what is the total interest for each year earned, okay, in year 1, 1,050 minus 1,000, it was $50. How about in year 2? In year 2, it was the 1102.50 minus the 1050, so we earned $52.50. In year 3, it's this 1157 minus the year before balance, so we earned $55. So you see, as the interest grows, that's compound. That's what compound interest means. So you could do this table forever. But hey, the table kind of is long. And what if you want to see how much money you're going to earn in like 25 years? All right, say you're putting $1,000 into a savings account that you don't want to touch until retirement. Okay, and you got like 25, 30 years till retirement. So that's where we actually have, there is a nice little pretty formula that comes into play. Okay, so if we go and you have it on your PowerPoint slide, it's called the future value formula. Okay, and what it says is it equals $1 times 1 plus R raised to T. R is rate, so the interest rate. So 1 plus the interest rate. So we've actually been doing this, 1 plus the interest rate. Raised to T is the time. So that's how many years you're looking at. Okay, so if we're looking at 2 years, T would be 2. If we're looking at 25 years, T would be 25. And now what I will say is I wish they called the $1 something else, because really $1 is the investment, your initial investment. So I could write this formula. Let's just go here. And I'll put it here. Future value formula. Okay. And I'll do equals initial investment. Okay. Times 1 plus R, and R stands for the interest rate, and then raised to T. And I'm not sure if I could raise the T to show you. Let me see. So hold on, I'm just playing with Excel. That decreases the font size. Can I make it a superscript? Format cells. Let me just see this. Sorry, guys, bear with me. There we go, superscript. So you see the T is raised, okay? So it's like an exponent. It's being raised to that power. So your initial investment times 1 plus R raised to the T, okay? So your initial investment's whatever the money you put in. Say you start with $1,000, multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate raised to the time. How many years are you dealing with, okay? So let's put this in. Look, let's see if it works. We just did it. We got to 3 years total. So say we want to find out how much $1,000 is worth at 5% interest for 3 years. So we're going to do equals our initial investment, $1,000, times, in parentheses, 1 plus 0.05, close the parentheses, raise it. Okay, so to raise it in Excel, you do, what is it, Control, no, Shift 6. Okay, excuse me, Shift 6. Okay, you get that little arrow pointing up. Okay, and then we're doing 3 years, so 3. So raise to the 3. So if we hit enter, look, it's the same amount, $1,157.63. If you prefer using calculators, you do the same thing. You could break it down. Okay, you don't need to do it as one line item if you're a little unsure with the calculations. First, do 1 plus the rate, so get 1.05. Then raise 1.05 to the third power. Okay, so that's 1.05 times 1.05 times 1.05. And then multiply that by the initial investment. But again, try to get comfortable doing this formula because it's much quicker. Okay, so now look how easy. If I say, what is the future value of $10,000 invested today, earning 3% interest? Look at this. It's going to be one line. Okay, equals 10,000 times, in parentheses, 1.03 raised to, I didn't tell you the time frame. Let's say 25 years. Okay, let's say you're investing $10,000 today. You're saving it. You want to let it sit there. So let's say 25 years. Okay, 25 years. So it's $20,937 that you would earn. Okay, and if I just want to show you the formula so it stays up here, 10,000 times 1.03 raised to 25. So it's really easy. It's straightforward. Everything's there to help you. And again, you want to use this formula, or at least break it down and do it step by step, but still keep with this formula. If not, you're doing this 25 years, what we were doing over here. Now you might be saying, all right, the formula's not bad. And here, I'll do you one better. Excel has a built-in formula. Okay, and if you're going in accounting, you're going in finance, Excel is your best friend. So don't shy away from it now. Start using Excel now, especially while you have me. I can help you, give you tips and tricks if you're struggling with Excel. So in Excel, if you want to find the future value of something, you do equals, hit the equal sign, Start the F, you'll see it brings up some formulas. Okay. Hit FV, and that's future value. All right. Oh, sorry. Let me redo that for you. So equals FV. Okay. Start a parentheses. So equals FV. Start the first parentheses. And now look, it wants you to put in the values. Okay. So right now it's asking for the rate. So what is the rate in our above example? It was 3%. So we could put 3%. You hit comma. NPER is number of periods. Okay. So we're dealing with 25. Hit comma. The payment stands for, we're not going to get there yet. Payment stands for what if on top of this, every year we add in $500 more of our own money, or we add in $50 more of our own money. Okay, but we don't have a payment right now. So what you would do is you just hit comma again. You see it skips it. It moved the bold word over. Now you see highlighted is PV, this black PV. Okay, and it's in parentheses. And what it wants is it's saying, hey, what's the present value? The present value is another way of saying the initial investment. What is the value of the money today? The value of the money today is the money we're putting in, which is $10,000. But what it wants you to do, it's showing it in brackets because it wants it as a negative figure. So we're going to do negative $10,000, comma. So you hit comma, type end of the period or beginning of the period. Okay. This one, again, we're not dealing with why this one really matters. We're going to hit 1 for the end, the beginning of the period. Okay. Can you, yeah, you could have just clicked on it. That's pretty neat. Excel didn't have that in my day. Okay, so 1, the beginning of the period. We're going to close the parentheses. Let's make sure it works. Good, and it works. Okay, so Excel has the formula built in. It's there for you to use. Here, I'll copy the formula down. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll put these in front so you see exactly how it was typed in. All right, so let's keep going. I'm going to talk about the stuff in Excel and see if there's anything you need to care about right now. All right, so I'm just going to keep my discussion in Excel. Use the PowerPoint as an additional reference. Hey, and one thing, why is it the negative? Why do we put the present value as negative? The reason is because you're putting it in that this is an investment of yours, so it's an outflow of cash for you. So from your point of view, you're losing $10,000 for this investment purpose. You're going to get it back. It's just in the formula, it's set up that it's a negative cash outflow for you. You're taking $10,000, putting it into this other account. Okay, so, and if your plan is to leave it there, you just lost the $10,000 for this time period. So that's why the formula wants it as negative. Okay, so look how quick we could do this now. What is the future value? You could do this with anything. Think how useful this is. Say you know in 5 years that you want to be able to buy. Okay, I'm getting too ahead of myself. But let's say you want to save money and you're like, all right, I got this $2,000 and I want to save it for 5 years. So what is the future value of $2,000 earning, let's say 7% interest, okay, in 5 years. Okay, look how easy it is. Look how nice and quick. Equals future value, FV. Put the first parentheses. Now it's saying, give me the rate. Just type it in, buddy. I'll do the work for you. 7%, comma. Number of periods, 5 years, comma. No payment. We're not there yet, comma. Present value, minus 2,000, comma. I think actually we could end the formula there and it's okay. We don't need to do the beginning and then, yep. We don't need to do that last beginning period, ending period thing for what we're dealing with now. We will get there one day, just not yet. So you'll see in 5 years, our $2,000 will grow to $2,805. Okay. And again, you could have did it this way as well. It's still pretty quick. Equals 2,000 times, in parentheses, 1.05 raised to 5. Whoa, hold on, sorry. What did I do? Oh, 7%, I'm sorry. 1 point, see, I got cocky. 1.07, there we go. Okay. So now you could be asked any question, hey, what is $1,000 worth in 27 million years at a percent interest? Okay, you could do all this good stuff. It's really useful. Now we're going to look, guess what? We could do the inverse of this. We could figure out the present value. Ooh, okay. So we could figure out, say we know in 10 years, we want to have $1 million saved. Okay. Okay. And we have a bank account that will give us 12% interest. Okay. So we have the years. We want to have $1 million in 10 years. And it's going to earn 12% interest. So I could ask you guys the question, how much do we need to invest today to meet this goal? Or I could say, how much is $1 million today at 12% interest? They're the same question. They'll give you the same answer. Okay. What is the value of $1 million 10 years from now, today, if we could earn 12% interest? Or how much do we need to invest today to meet the goal of having $1 million in 10 years with 12% interest? Okay. So what we need to do is we need to see a small play before we get to the Excel formula. We're going to look at the actual broken down formula. And you will see the PowerPoint in the book as how to do this on like a calculator. Go for it. If you're interested in that, go for it. Okay, use the calculator, play with it. I'm just such a fan of Excel, and Excel is the best calculator in my opinion. So I won't spend time on the calculator because I know not many have physical calculators. But if you're interested in it, the PowerPoint in the book does break it down how to put this into calculators. But now we're at the present value formula. Okay. And right here is it broken down. First, it makes it look ugly, but here's the end result. So it's $1, which really is the initial investment, divided by 1 plus R, which is the rate. And now it should be raised to T. Maybe it just gets there. There it is. So here it is officially. So $1 divided by 1 plus R raised to the T. If you look, hey, that looks like the future value formula just slightly changed. So if we look, remember the future value formula, future value equals 1 times 1 plus R raised to the T, okay? If, remember algebra, if we divide, okay, this side by 1 plus R raised to the T, and here, let me change it. Let me make that 1. I'll put it into words. Initial investment, okay? If we divide 1 plus R raised to the T to get it off of this side and bring it to this side, remember how that works in algebra? So we'll have the future value, and let me set it up a little pretty. Future value divided by 1 plus R raised to the T equals initial investment, which I said the initial investment is also the present value. So look, right here's our formula. We take the future value, because now we're going to be given the future value, and we're trying to find what the value today is, and we divide it by 1 plus the rate raised to the T for time. All right, so let's look at it. Let's look at our example real quick. So we're saying we want, and I'll put it first visually, we want $1 million. Okay. We know we're going to get 12% interest, and we want it in 10 years. Okay, this is all in this info given. That's what the formula would look like. Let me put the line so it looks like division. Okay, and now let me do the formula. So equals 1 million. You'll notice Excel doesn't like when you're doing these formulas if you put commas. So you got to do, just count out to zero. So 1 million divided by parentheses 1 plus 12% raised to 10. And what we get here, and we're making money, we need to invest $321,973 today for it to turn into $1 million in 10 years if we have 12% interest. Okay? And looky. So here, let me copy that down though so you guys can all see. You can pause this video, make sure you have your calculation. So I'm gonna do that. Click right in front there. Okay. Now, you'll see Excel also has, if we do equals PV for present value, parentheses, look, the same thing. It breaks it down. It's so nice to you. 12% is the rate, comma, number of periods is 10, comma, payment, we have no payment, so comma. Future value, it wants it as negative. I didn't think it did, but let me put it in. So let's say it wants the future value, we know is $1 million. It wants it as negative, so we'll put negative 1 million. We'll end it right there. We don't need to do the type. Okay. Okay, and it brings it back positive. So it's just when Excel does the calculation, it wants the present value or future value as a negative number. Okay, it's however the calculation is built into Excel. But we see we get the same results. And look, I'll copy it down and I'll do it so you can see it on screen. And you might be sitting there saying this is witchcraft. This isn't true. So let's look at the ones we've done. Okay, over here, what is the future value of $2,000 earning 7% interest in 5 years? Let me say, what is the present value of $2,805.10 that earned 7% interest over 5 years? So what is the value today of $2,805.10 that earned 7% interest in 5 years? Okay. Or if I said, what if in 5 years we want to have $2,800 and we're going to get 7% interest? How much do we have to invest today? Do it either way. So what I'm going to do is equals the future value amount, $2,805.10, divided by, in parentheses, 1 plus 7%, excuse me, raised to 5. Look at that. With rounding, it's just off because you see the change here, 1035. With rounding, it's $2,000. Okay? You're saying, no, more witchcraft. Hold on. See, if you round 2,000. Let's do equals present value, the rate, 7%, comma, number of periods, 5, comma, payment, nothing, comma, future value, minus 2805.10, end it right there, hit enter, $2,000. Beautiful. This is, I think this is really one of the best concepts for people to have, present value, future value. Okay. This, so when we're looking at a PowerPoint, this $1, which is the initial investment divided by 1 plus R raised to the T, it's often called the discount factor. So what they say is when you find the present value, you're discounting a future value to present day money. That's like the fancy way to say it. It's the same concept. It's just the way they say it. So you're discounting. When we did this other example, we'll get to it. Excuse me. How much is $1 million today? Okay, we're discounting $1 million 10 years from now using 12% interest. We're discounting it to what today's value is, which is $321,973. So again, I think these are both monumentally important. And what we're going to do in the future weeks is we're going to play around and we're going to do future value, present value, but we could play around. You see this T stands for time. But what if we get interest? What if we get an account that gives us monthly interest, which is actually what mine is. My 2%, that sucks. It's 2% every month, so it's a little bit better. Okay. Um, Actually, no, it's not 2% a month. I'm sorry. It's point. I think it's like point. It's so bad that I don't even know. It's like 0.02, I think, a month. But anyways, a lot of them give you monthly interest. So then we say, well, what's the monthly interest compound? Okay. And we're going to get there. So we're going to deal with bigger time frames. I want you guys to just understand present value, future value. Next week we'll jump it up. Okay. But again, I think these are so important. There will be an assignment where I'm going to give you a few examples and say, what's the present value of this amount of money? Okay. That we want to have 10 years from now. What's the value if we want to have it 5 years from now? What's the value we have to invest if we want to have it 2 years from now? Okay, and I'll do the same thing. What's the future value of $1,000 invested today with this interest over this length of time, over this length of time? It's just so helpful. Say you're saving for something right now. You want to have a family and you want a baby and you want to make sure you have $10,000 saved. So you want $10,000 saved within 3 years. Okay, and you can get interest of 10%. Keep in mind that 10% interest doesn't just have to be a bank interest. Maybe you have an investment account like stocks, and you get a rate of return every year of like 14%. Okay, then you could do that. That's your interest rate. Your rate of return that you get on your stocks, on your investments, is your interest rate. So you could do that too. That's great. Okay, so it doesn't just have to be bank interest. I keep saying interest, and that's fine, but it could just be your rate of return. Your expected rate of return is 10%. So if we want $10,000 saved within 3 years, okay, interest of 10%, how much to invest today? So we need the present value of 10% interest over 3 years, no payment. The future value is $10,000. So we need to invest $7,500 today. And you're like, wow, in 3 years, 7,500, that's a lot. But you're getting $2,500 of free money for just sitting there. So it is pretty good. Again, that's 10% interest. That's pretty good interest. But again, this is great savings. Okay, you could do it if you're saving for a car. Okay, you want a $2,000 down payment in 2 years for a car. Okay, here I'll do your rate of return on average for investments is 16%. Present value equals present value. Rate is 16%. Number of periods is 2. Future value is 2,000. You need to invest $1,486. But again, $500 in 2 years of free money, it's just sitting there, isn't too bad. Okay. But again, we're going to deal with compounding beyond just once a year. We're going to deal with how does it compound monthly, stuff like that. But I think this is pretty straightforward. Go do the PowerPoint, see if anything confuses you. You have both formulas, okay, the Excel formula, or take it the longer route, but it's still short. Okay, you could play with the calculator. The PowerPoint book gives you calculator. Calculator, like how to do it on the calculator steps. There's also a table you could use. We're not going to really talk about it because if you could understand going to the table, you could understand the Excel formula. Okay, the table is what existed before we had this beautiful beast called Excel. Okay, so I'm going to end this here. I just added like 10 minutes at the end of it for no reason by me sputtering on, but I'm going to end it. I'll upload it and let me know if you have questions.